Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is sitting in a dentist's chair, gripping the armrest, bracing for a drill, and in about 20 minutes, they'll walk out numb, mildly traumatized, but fine. Now imagine that same pain, that same throbbing, can't sleep, can't eat, want to rip your own jaw off pain, except there's no dentist, no numbing gel, no painkillers, no appointment you can book, just you, the pain, and 30,000 years of nothing to fix it with. That was reality for almost every human who ever lived, and the story of what they actually did about it is way stranger, and honestly way more brutal, than you'd expect. Let's start with the obvious question: did ancient humans even get cavities? The answer is, barely. Skeletons from hunter-gatherer populations show remarkably healthy teeth. Their diet was mostly meat, fibrous plants, nuts, and roots. Nothing particularly sugary. Nothing that clung to their teeth and fed bacteria all day. But healthy doesn't mean pain-free. Teeth still cracked. They still wore down to the nerve from grinding tough food. Abscesses still formed. And when they did, ancient humans were not just suffering quietly in a cave somewhere. They were doing something about it. Something that archaeologists are still uncovering evidence of today. In 2001, researchers examining skeletons from Mehrgarh, in modern-day Pakistan, found something that shouldn't have existed: 9 molars, drilled straight through the enamel, with holes almost perfectly cylindrical, like something made with a tool. Not an accident. The dating put these teeth at roughly 9,000 years old. That's 4,000 years before the invention of the wheel. And yet here was evidence of deliberate, precise dental drilling. The tool responsible was likely a bow drill, the same kind used to spark fire or shape beads, fitted with a tiny flint tip. Someone held that drill against another human's exposed tooth, spun it by hand, and bore straight through enamel into the nerve. No anesthesia, no sedation. Just someone gritting through it because the alternative was worse. Now pause and actually sit with that for a second. Drilling into a living tooth today, with modern anesthesia, still makes people flinch in the chair. These people did it awake, aware, feeling every second of it, because an infected tooth left untreated doesn't just hurt, it can kill you. An abscess can spread into the jaw, into the bloodstream, into the brain. Before antibiotics existed, a bad tooth was a legitimate way to die. So drilling a hole through solid enamel with a stone-tipped stick wasn't some extreme ritual. It was survival math. Unbearable pain now, or a slow, dangerous death later. But drilling wasn't the only trick. In 2012, scientists studying a 6,500-year-old jawbone from Slovenia found something even stranger sitting inside a cracked tooth: beeswax. Someone had packed a fracture with beeswax, likely to seal the exposed nerve and block out air, food, and bacteria. It's essentially the world's oldest known dental filling, and it worked on the same basic principle modern fillings use today: seal the hole, block the exposure, stop the pain at the source. Further out, across different cultures and time periods, the remedies get even more inventive. In ancient Mesopotamia, one of the oldest medical texts ever discovered describes tooth pain as being caused by a tooth worm, a mythical creature believed to burrow into teeth and cause decay from the inside out. That belief didn't just show up once. It persisted for thousands of years, across completely unconnected cultures, from ancient China to medieval Europe, which tells you something fascinating. Humans everywhere independently arrived at the same explanation: because a spreading, hollowing, aching tooth genuinely does feel like something is eating you from within. And the treatments that followed the tooth worm theory were exactly as intense as you'd expect. Ancient remedies included packing the tooth with crushed herbs, rinsing with vinegar, applying heated metal directly to the aching area to essentially cauterize the nerve, and in some cultures, using narcotic plants like henbane, which produces a numbing, hallucinogenic smoke, to dull the pain just enough to get through the day. None of it was pleasant, all of it was better than nothing. Then agriculture happened, and everything got dramatically worse. Once humans started farming roughly 10,000 years ago, diets shifted hard toward grains, starches, and eventually sugar. Skeletal evidence from early farming populations shows a sharp spike in cavities compared to hunter-gatherers who came before them. More carbohydrates meant more fuel for the bacteria that erode enamel. Toothaches went from occasional to routine, and with routine pain came something we'd recognize immediately: people who specialized in fixing it. By ancient Egypt, there were physicians whose entire role involved treating dental disease. The Edwin Smith Papyrus, one of the oldest surviving medical documents, describes wiring loose teeth together with gold thread, an early, ancient version of a dental splint. The Egyptians weren't guessing, they were engineering solutions to a problem their ancestors barely had to deal with. By the time you get to the Middle Ages, dental extraction had basically become a public spectacle. Barbers, yes, the same people cutting hair, doubled as tooth pullers, using iron forceps in front of crowds, often in marketplaces, with no numbing agent beyond maybe a shot of alcohol if you were lucky. Pain wasn't hidden, it was performed, and people endured it, screaming through it in some cases, because a rotting tooth left in place was, again, potentially lethal. So here's the actual arc of this story. For most of human history, teeth barely decayed, because the diet didn't feed the bacteria that caused decay. When teeth did break or crack, humans responded with startling precision, drilling with stone tools, sealing cracks with beeswax, cauterizing nerves, using narcotic smoke to numb pain thousands of years before the word anesthesia existed. Then agriculture rewired the human diet, decay exploded, and an occasional problem became a universal one. Which is exactly why dentistry eventually became a full-time profession instead of a rare emergency skill. Next time you sit in a dentist's chair, mildly annoyed about the wait, or the cost, or the sound of the drill, remember what the alternative used to be: a bow drill through raw enamel, beeswax pressed into a cracked nerve, crushed herbs and heated metal, and a belief that something was literally eating you alive from the inside. You're not more resilient than your ancestors, you just have Novocaine. And honestly, that might be one of the best trades humanity ever made.